Welcome to Digital Asset News, or Dan for short. My name is Rob, and today I just want to just pop in and just talk to you real quick before Thanksgiving comes about us, and just to take a look at what we call whale shadows. And we haven't seen this type of move in quite some time, and when we see these types of moves, it means there is potentially a pretty massive dump incoming. So we'll take a look at the whale shadows. I'm going to talk about why you've been dumped on, you've been lied to pretty much this whole time, as we take a look at the OGs in the space and what they've been doing. Also, we'll talk about how Binance is back in the saddle for Voyager. And then I just want to tell you an interesting piece that came about as far as diversification and centralization, and how even if you diversify, you could potentially lose it all. And then, of course, last, we'll do a little Q&A. So first things first, actually what I need to do is I need to talk to you about my audio. Some people have been complaining about the audio recently. Don't know what's happening with the mic. Who knows? So if there is something wrong with the audio where it sounds too echoey or it sounds too soft, let me know, because I just changed all the wires out and just want to make sure this is right. I mean, in all honesty, these videos, you could not even see anything. And the biggest thing that we could have is just the audio. So I think the audio is the biggest thing. So Tesla says there's a big echoey. Long time no see. And then also, yeah, of course, we're doing this video today impromptu. Of course, it's Thanksgiving, so congratulations for you guys making it. Thanksgiving is one of my favorite holidays because I can eat like a pig and have no repercussions. So I love these days quite nicely. So we'll do this before Thanksgiving dinner because I got nothing else going on anyhow, so might as well. Nice background today. Audio is good. Audio is fine. Camera shaky. That's because I'm shaky. Audio is fine. Okay, great. So maybe it's a little bit echoey. Echo, yes, but it's okay. Let's see. Let me try this. How about if I put it closer? Does that help at all? Or actually, how about if we do this and come here for the echoey? Yes, the echo is from the room, but I mean, is that much of a distraction? The question is. Yeah. Well, we'll see. Maybe we'll put some other things up. Perfecto. What did I do? I think if you just turn down the volume, that's the trick. Let me see something real quick. Sorry, we don't usually screw around like this in the videos. I just want to make sure I get this good. Great. Let's get to it. So the first things first. There was this piece that came about. Of course, it's Thanksgiving here in the United States. We should give thanks for the things that we have. And I came across this, which kind of sums things up before we get into the awful big bad thing that's going to happen, which I'll be honest with you, nothing really awful happens for long periods of time in the crypto space. If you don't like the price action or what's happening, just wait, things will change. But I think there's a big dump incoming. But before we talk about that, there was this piece it's from Matt Schnuck, entrepreneurship, Twitter extraordinaire, stuff like that. And what he talked about was, he said there's a famous researcher, I think the guy's name was on Stutz, and he predicted the divorce rate with 91% accuracy. So if you're married, listen up. This guy, I guess, marriage counselor, therapist, he could predict with 91% accuracy who was going to be divorced and who was not. And really what it came down to, it was if the people in the relationship had contempt versus how much they actually showed they were grateful. So the people that had a bunch of contempt for their partner over a prolonged period of time, almost all the time they would get divorced. And of course, that's like, contempt is like when you have an air of superiority and you think that you're right over someone who think that's wrong. You're somebody in contempt. And of course, with this one, the ones that he showed, they could cut through the negativity to show gratefulness, or just being grateful in general, were the ones that would actually save their marriage and go forward. And I thought about it would be a perfect idea for today, because today is a day to give thanks, right? To be grateful for things we have. Look, I know this market has sucked recently. Let's be honest. However, think of it this way. Are you above ground? Meaning, are you alive? Well, probably if you're listening to my video. Also, remember this. Normal people have thousands of wishes, and a sick person only has one. So if you're a person that isn't tremendously sick or battling some type of disease, consider yourself fortunate. Also, remember this, we are in a bear market. So if this was any of the time to build, it is right now. I know we talk about this, but this is where I made all my money in the crypto space was during these bear markets. So I know right now it doesn't feel like it's the great thing of all time. I thought the same thing in 2018. I thought that my crypto investing was over. However, here we are making things okay. Here we are in Puerto Rico. So I just said like this, I was like, look, I'm grateful for, of course, my health, my friends, my family, the people around me, but I'm also grateful for the collapses and things that I've learned. I said, I'm grateful Celsius collapsed. And I'm grateful it happened to me, not to you. I'm grateful it happened to me because now I know what to do in the next run, even in the next run up. And I said, I'm glad it happened now at our crypto market cap of what it is, rather than it happening when the crypto market cap is 10, 15, or $20 trillion and I lose it all at that point. So there's always a silver lining, always things that are going on. So I want to talk to you about that first before we talked about the big bad, which is whale shadows. So I get these alerts from Look Into Bitcoin. And Look Into Bitcoin, there's a link in the description, or you can just type it in lookintobitcoin.com, whichever. And it said, alert, whale shadows are in play. This is one of the most massive whale shadows that we've ever seen last couple of years, which usually signifies a incoming large dump. So what this is when wallets, and take this with a grain of salt, because you can move things from wallet to wallet. Like I can move my Bitcoin from MetaMask wallet to my ledger, and my ledger to an exchange, then off the exchange and some other wallet that I create. I could do that. And that would be not a big thing. But usually people aren't moving a ton of Bitcoin just because they had nothing else to do. So as we know, these whale shadows, it's an indicator that shows when Bitcoin has not moved on chain for many years. And when it finally moves again, and they break it down into 10 years, 7 to 9 years, which is what they show right now. I'll get to the other part. 5 to 7 years, 4 to 5 years. So right now, today, we have one of the largest movements. 10,000 plus Bitcoin has moved from one wallet to another. Does that mean there's going to be an impending dump? No. It's just that usually when these things happen, there is a dump incoming as a wallet that isn't designated per an exchange, which hasn't moved in 7 to 9 years. Now all of a sudden just moves. Usually they move it to exchange. Usually it sells, but not all the time. So take it with a grain of salt. And that's in, I guess that's purple. And then down here is if you have 10 years or more, and only 209 have moved. And that was yesterday. Crazy, right? And this has just been happening, and we've seen this happening recently. Quite a bit. I got to say, it's a lot of Bitcoin to move in one day for someone who hasn't moved in 7 to 9 years. However, when in doubt, zoom out, right? So what we're going to do is, that looks pretty awful. Well, let's zoom out. It's not that bad. However, if we take a look over here, we can see that it hasn't happened like this since whenever this is, 2022 in some time frame, but it's happened before. And it's happened when we see like this happened, and then what happened? A big dump happened here. And then of course, what happened over here, there's like a little bit of an increase in price. And then of course they sold and big dump. And now we're here, it's dumped again, and we're on this point. So expect another dump potentially. But the one thing that got to me when I looked at this is that there's this phrase called diamond hands. You should diamond hands. And it works for some, doesn't work for everybody. Oh, sorry, Kiwi. I should probably get you out of there for a second. And isn't this Mt. Gox coin? No, it's not Mt. Gox coins. I mean, it could be, I don't know, but every time there's something that someone says, oh, it's Mt. Gox, it's Mt. Gox. I've been listening to that for like 5 years straight. Mt. Gox happened 2014. They haven't done really much of anything. So no. So anyhow, when I take a look at this, and I kept hearing about diamond hands. So OGs in the space, and I'm not saying all OGs, I'm just saying people who have been around for quite some time. See here in 2017, when there was a big run up in the price, what happened? What happened? Well, there was a big move of somebody, and a lot of tokens, a lot of Bitcoin was moved onto exchange and dumped. And around this time when the price goes up, We read the white paper for Satoshi Nakamoto. It was 9 pages long, and it said very specifically, Bitcoin, it said nothing about store of value. You can make it a store of value, that's fine. But it said, essentially, it is for a peer-to-peer transaction. That's what it was, a trustless peer-to-peer transaction. So if you want to sell your Bitcoin, go right ahead. I'm not here to fault you. I applaud you. Good for you. If you want to use it for the peer-to-peer transaction, maybe you have to change it into dollars first because people don't take Bitcoin, whatever. But I'm just saying, like, if you don't think that people dump on you, that's not true. When people are moving here, again, grain of salt, doesn't say they're moving all, or they're selling all the time, but you've got people 10 years here, 10 years again, and then the last Bitcoin bull run up, 56,000. What do you see a bunch of? Whales moving their Bitcoin, whales moving their Bitcoin, whales moving their Bitcoin. So I might take a look at this. Just take that, diamond hands stuff with a grain of salt. It works for some. And I think those are the ones that are the most vocal. But again, it's up to you to decide what's the best thing for you and your family for crypto and digital assets. And on top of that, I know that, so what I'm saying is I think we're going to see a dump incoming. I think there's going to be more problems on the horizon. We've talked yesterday, the 10 and the 2-year T-bills have flipped. Actually, the 10 and the 3 months have actually flipped. So a recession is imminent between statistically 6 and 24 months from now. But I think it's going to happen in 2023. I just want to remind you of something, that yes, bad times are here. Yes, there are problems afoot. Yes, we have issues. And yes, of course, we just saw that whales will dump on you. However, remember this. I'm here for the long run. You probably are too if you're listening to my channel. You don't do a lot of trading because I don't do a lot of trading. That's just usually how it is. Remember these prices. Bitcoin price on Thanksgiving. In 2010, it was 28 cents. Not too bad. 2011, $2.49. 2012, which was the halving, it was about 12 bucks. And then what happens after every halving? Usually, the last 12 years or so, we've had an all-time high, 813 bucks. And of course, the top was in December, which was around 1,000. 2014, of course, you have a dip and a reset. 2014, 376, then 328, then you had another halving, 739. 2017, what do you have? All-time highs. But this is in November. That was 8,700 bucks. In December, it hit almost 20,000. Remember? 2018, dip. 2015, 2019, little reset. 2020 had a halving, did we not? 2021 had an all-time high, did we not? 2022, as far as Thanksgiving, this is what we're at. Roughly 16,000. I don't know what the price is right now. I have no idea. Which means if history does repeat itself, 2023, it's going to be a dip or just trade sideways. And that'll be plus with the recession. So I personally think we'll probably go down even more. Remember, Bitcoin hasn't gone through a recession, but Bitcoin also didn't go through a pandemic, and it worked out just fine. 2024, we'll probably have a halving. Actually, not probably. We will have a halving. What am I saying? And then 2025, maybe an all-time high. The thing is, I just want you to remember is that at some point, there's going to be a spot where maybe you want to sell and things like that. There are things that you can look at, which I talk about in great detail in my exit strategy. But one of those things I like to take a look at, let me go back here. Whoops. I like to take a look into Bitcoin. Also, I lean heavily on Ben's site into the cryptoverse. And we can very simply just look at this one, MVRVZ, which is the market cap, the market value versus realized value whenever it loads. I guess it's have a little bit of a problem today because everybody's looking at the same thing. I'll get back to it later. So we can look at that. We can just see like where things are. And it's very simple. When things get overheated, you sell. When things are in value territory, maybe you want to consider loading up. Just depends on what your personal preference is. And we go from there. So is this going to load today? Maybe not. Oh, well. You know, where a good place to go is take a look at those. Let's see. Maybe just my internet that sucks today. Yeah. No, I don't know if you've heard about this website, Dan Teaches Crypto, 100% free, all that great stuff. But in chapter or module 3 in investing, I talk about it. Let's see. So yeah, here's an example. NUPL, where's the MVRBZ score? I don't really tell you that. Anyhow, when things go up, time to sell. Things are in the green, maybe time to accumulate and off of there. Also, take a look at this video, when and why I'm selling, because I don't know if the dates are right, but I can tell you that the charts will tell you when things are overheated, and the charts will tell you when things are ice cold, and that's the time to strike. Anyhow, let me know what you think about that in the comments section. I think a little bit too, spend a little time on that. Now let's go to, son of a gun, some good information, some good news. This is from friend of the show, Tiffany Fong. If you don't follow her for all the great information as far as like what's going on with Celsius. Also, she just had a phone call with SBF. That was an interesting topic. And then she just sent this over via Twitter. And it looks like Binance is back in the saddle. Looks like they want to buy Voyager. And what a good pickup, matter of fact. So just take a listen. This is 10 seconds. I'm not going to bore you. So take a listen.
Binance US will make another bid for Voyager now, given FTX is no longer able to follow through on their commitment. So we'll see how that plays out.
That's all I want to show you. So great. I have a bunch of I have some crypto left on Voyager, so hopefully Binance can buy them out and become a monopoly. So I really don't care at this point. So just make just make everybody else whole. I don't care if I get my money back, just make everybody else whole. Same thing with Celsius. Maybe you want to buy Celsius, CZ, that would be a great buy for you, and move from there. So let me know if you think that's positive or negative. And lastly, and this is most important, I think. I mean, besides the mentality of where you want to be as far as an investor, even with all the diversification in the world, you can still lose everything. This is, I don't know who this was, but, and I don't even know if this is fake. Honestly, it could be fake, but the lesson is real, which is even if you diversify in the junk, in the trash, or into scams or whatever, or just projects that were promising and aren't, just don't make it. Just know that you can diversify and you can still lose everything. This is Quentin. He says, "Hey, pro tip in crypto." This is from June 28th, 2022. This has got to be a joke, first of all, because June 28, 2022, that was after Celsius collapsed and after Terra Luna. Correct me in the comment section, but I'm pretty sure June 22nd was when Celsius cut off all of their withdrawals. So the lesson still makes sense. 25% in Celsius, 20% in Terra Luna, or 25% in Luna, 25% Luna, 25% Terra and Anchor, and 25% in BlockFi. I don't think BlockFi had a problem at that point. But again, the same thing goes, right? Be careful with what you invest into. And if you don't feel this is right for you, then maybe this isn't right for you. Let's be honest. It's not for everybody. This is high stakes gambling at its finest, my friends. And that is crypto. However, if you screw up on 10 and you just nail one, the one takes place of everything. So just remember that. If you think, man, I lost everything, it's not a big deal. Just remember, diversify. Well, there's another phrase, which I never really agreed with, but I could see the point, which is concentration gains massive wealth, and diversification keeps wealth. So for me, you could concentrate your crypto and your funds into one specific project, which a lot of people did that. They did that in Luna. They did that in Voyager. They did that in Celsius. Look where that got them. I just don't agree with that comment. I think that's just safer to diversify. Maybe I'm wrong. Correct me in the comment section. So for me personally, this is where I'm diversifying. And I think we've talked about this many times. I got a lot of cash. I got some stocks. I have 1% in stable coins, 3 to 5% in some DGen plays, around 4% into Masterworks, which is fractionalized shares of artwork. Again, those are regulated and they are poised with the SEC. Sorry, my internet cut out. And of course, iTRUST Capital, about 1 to 2%. And that's where I have it. So this is where I'm trying to keep my wealth diversification, and that's it. So that'll take care of that. Also, if you're looking for a link for iTRUST and Masterworks, a link in the description. Again, Masterworks, they just sold, well, not them, but the art market just sold $1.5 billion worth of art just a week and a half ago. So they're doing okay. Traditional and crypto, not so much. And also, don't forget that there is a link in the description for Shield Folio. You now, for today, can get 50% off. Right now, it's 30% off site-wide, okay? So you use the link, and then you put a discount code. Very simple, DAN, D-A-N. Apply that, and I'll give you should be initial 20%, but I think it's like 15%. So subtotal 35. You're looking at $28 roughly, and then with tax, it adds back on. So maybe not 50%, maybe 46% or somewhere around there. So just use the codes, get a Shield Folio STONEBOOK, and of course, that's the one that looks like this. Water resistant, tear resistant. You can probably mnemonic phrase and things like that. I got 4 of those myself. They work out great. And that's it. So look, that'll take care of the news today. Now we're going to do a quick Q&A so I can get out of here. I got some food to eat, and we'll go from there. If you like today's video, thumbs up, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'm here every day. So if you want to stop by, I can chat with you. We're good to go. That's it for the news and stuff. Now let's get to my favorite part, little Q&A.